In his first season, Aikman took most of the snaps. He also took most of the beatings. He was in and out of the lineup with injuries. The perfect quarterback had an absolutely imperfect rookie season. He started 11 games and lost all 11.
The team that I had left at UCLA had more talent than this professional team that I was playing for.
To be around here in 1989 and 1990, it was a very unsettling time and an unsettling dynamic because Troy was looking over his shoulder at just about everybody in the organization, saying, does this guy know what he's doing? Does that guy know what he's doing? Do we have confidence in this guy? Do we have confidence in that guy? And the answer a lot of times was no.
Early in the 1990 season, Johnson had discussions with teams about trading Steve Walsh.
There was a lot of rumors about the Saints going to trade for me because they were struggling at their quarterback position. We were going up to play the Redskins, and I think we needed a touchdown to win, and Troy was driving us, and then he threw a pick, and we lost the game.
I'll take full blame for that. I mean, I should be able to read that and see what's going on, and it killed us and it stopped the ball game for us.
After that game, Jimmy was ready to pull the plug on the trade because he still wasn't sure if Troy was going to be his guy. And he just was so frustrated over that loss that he was almost going to pull the plug and just let the season play out and see what happened. For one reason or another, maybe they sweetened the deal, but he ended up pulling the trigger on the trade.
By 1991, the Cowboys had improved. But in Week 13, Aikman was injured in Washington.
Football left. Don't worry about this. Can't go now. We'll do it again some other time, baby.
In Aikman's absence, Steve Beuerlein led the team to 5 straight wins and a playoff berth.
And when they got close to the playoffs, the question began to be obvious. Who's your quarterback if Troy's healthy? And Jimmy publicly always said that they would go back to Troy.
I was healthy going in the last week of the season. And then I was told, well, we don't want to risk getting you injured before the playoffs because we were a wild card team. We're going to have to play the next week. So, okay, well, I'll just rest up and then be ready for Chicago in the playoffs.
I feel like I was ready last week, and the knee feels good. And yeah, I feel like I can play.
And then that week comes, someone in the press called me up and said, hey, Jimmy just had his press conference and he announced that Steve Beuerlein is going to be the starting quarterback against Chicago. And that's when I got upset about it. I just thought the situation was mishandled.
Troy was not 100%. So I know Troy, being the competitor, he wanted to jump back in the lineup. But we went with Steve Beuerlein because, he had been winning games for us and Troy wasn't 100% healthy.
Beuerlein back to throw, looking left, throws it in the end zone, caught at the goal line, and Novacek pushes it in for the Cowboys touchdown.
Beuerlein led the Cowboys to their first playoff victory of the Troy Aikman era.
And the Cowboys win their first playoff game since 1982.
And I didn't start the following week either against Detroit.
Steve Beuerlein will start, and stop me if you've heard this before, Troy Aikman is available. Actually, look for Aikman early if the team starts to struggle.
Protection, throws it to the sideline, intercepted at the 40 by Jenkins.
There's Troy Aikman loosening. He says he's healthy.
And he says he's disappointed, and he says he's frustrated.
With the game slipping away, Aikman was put in just before halftime. He was unable to make a difference. The Cowboys failed to score again and were crushed by the Lions.
After that game in the locker room, I just happened to run into Troy, and he went, I'm gone. I'm asking for a trade. This is not going to work. And I didn't know if he was really serious or not, so I went, well, I'm going to write that for tomorrow. And Aikman went, hold off, I'll call you Monday. Sure enough, on Monday he calls and he went, Jimmy called me into the office a couple of hours ago. Jimmy said, this is your team. You are my guy. No more fooling around. And that meant more to Aikman than anything. That officially started the dynasty.
When the change was made, when Jimmy and I really started to turn the corner, The hiring of Norv Turner is ultimately what put us over the top.
He was perfect for us. He was perfect, and perfect for Troy.
After 3 years of, hey, these guys aren't going to make it together, not Jimmy and Troy. Boy, the trust factor with Jimmy became a brotherhood bond.
How about it, Troy? Everything going all right?
And so once he trusted the system and the guy running it, then he was able to let loose the shackles to be Troy Aikman, capital T, capital A.
It couldn't have been thrown any better.
We knew going into '92 season we were good. Didn't know how good. It was late in the year before we really realized that we were a really good team.
Super job! You are one game away from the Super Bowl!
The 49ers were still the big kids on the block.
You're going to come out next week.
We go into Candlestick to play the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. We were pretty loose. We felt like our season, by getting to that game, was now a success. I remember for myself not really giving much thought as to what happens if you win this game. I just kind of thought, okay, we'll go play and see what happens.
Aikman back, he's pressured, he throws it out, Smith's there, he's got the first down coming right to 5. Urban block, puts it in. Touchdown, Cowboys.
It wasn't until late in the game that I actually remember thinking, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl now.
Aikman, if anybody questions this young man going back to 1989, those questions have been answered. This team's going to Pasadena.
For Super Bowl XXVII, the Cowboys went to Troy Aikman's old stomping grounds, where the guy cast to be a champion could fulfill his role as Hollywood hero.
For me to get to spend that week at UCLA, practicing there where I had spent 3 years of college, there was just all this familiarity that came with being out there for me that helped just settle me down and be very calm and relaxed. By far the best week of practice that I've been a part of my entire career.
It was the last day of practice, a Friday, and he was throwing like a corner route and went about 5 yards out in front of Michael Irvin, and it kind of hit the ground in front of him. And everyone kind of snapped their head and said, what happened? And Troy goes, damn, I'm human, give me a break, I missed a throw. There was no doubt in anyone's mind he was gonna have a great performance in that game.
At the 2, takes it in. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Aikman unleashed an MVP performance, completing 22 of 30 passes and 4 touchdowns.
Aikman play action fake, slips, gets up, throws a deep ball. Harper's all alone. Caught it at the 5. Touchdown, Cowboys. Oh, what a throw.
After throwing a touchdown pass to Alvin Harper, and I hold up the number 1. And it's the only time I can ever remember doing that. That was that moment for me where it kind of hit me that, man, we are world champs. Going to the sidelines, seeing all those guys that were a part of that 1 in 15 year, guys who people said we would never win a championship with, there they were. And the celebration and the smiles and the hugs and, that to me really is what I think of when I think of the great success.
What a ride it's been. Troy Aikman's the MVP. Jimmy Johnson's taken his team from the absolute worst to the absolute best in 4 years. And Dallas, your Cowboys are the champions.
This game meant everything to me, to be quite honest with you. A tremendous amount of weight has been lifted off of my shoulders now, and at least, no matter what happens in my career from here on out, at least I can say that I took the team to the Super Bowl and we were able to win it.
In 1993, Aikman led Dallas to a second straight Super Bowl title. The perception was Aikman and the Cowboys were in perfect position to be a decade-long dynasty. But the reality was, a major change was coming.